have Bela Lugosi. Now, Bela Lugosi, a Hungarian American, who this film came out, I think, in 1931, I believe, and this was his first American movie that he did. And supposedly, from what I was reading, he came to the United States and auditioned for this, but he forced himself to learn English to the for this movie. He forced himself to learn English, and he's got such a thick Hungarian accent. But most of the lines, from what I was reading, he was basically just repeating lines. It was not that he knew the words; he was able to say the words
Mm-hmm.
and get by. But he eventually, through the course of filming the movie, he learned, English and everything, and forced himself to learn English. So I could tell when I watch this movie, and then I go to the 1948, which is the top right hand corner, which is Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Okay.
He plays Dracula in that again. It's the only other time he revises his role as Count Dracula. And his English is way better in that movie than the first movie.
It's a shame that his career it hit the heights of Dracula, but then everything else fell apart. Like he ended up in Plan 9, didn't he? The worst film ever made. And he died. I think he died halfway through that movie, and had to replace him with somebody else. It just goes to show that that fame is fleeting.
Mm-hmm.
If you if you're not meant to be there forever. Do like people like John Wayne, you always remember John Wayne being John Wayne, but him, you'll just remember him from Dracula and Plan 9. So I mean, that's a big fall, isn't it, between top Dracula and then suddenly he's in this really terrible movie.
Yeah, and he also played the Frankenstein monster in a movie as well. Later, later on in his career, he only played Dracula once. He played Frankenstein's monster in some movie, I think in the 40s or maybe even the 50s, and then he played some mad scientists and some other, Universal horror movies.
Well, he played Dracula twice, didn't he? He was in the Abbott Costello film as Dracula.
Yeah, the Abbott Costello in 48, and then his original role in 1931. So 17 years between roles.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, he was much, much better in the Abbott and Costello movie.
Of course he was.
And just his English was that much better, smooth and everything. But you can't knock this famous line on the stairs, the children of the night.
Yeah.
What sweet music they make. It's like, oh my God, just those lines, that opening scene.
I've seen his Dracula film once. It was good.
Yeah, I've seen clips. I've seen it once years ago as a little kid. They used to have like some monster movie showcase thing on one of the local stations, and they'd always show Dracula or Boris Karloff's Frankenstein or Boris Karloff's Mummy and stuff like that. So
I've seen the Mummy. Yeah, that was good.
I don't think he played Wolfman File. He did play Frankenstein once. I don't know in what movie.
He was definitely in the Wolfman. I think he was one of he was.
In the Abbott and Costello movie Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein. It's Dracula who basically had smuggled in the Frankenstein monster, and Lon Chaney Jr. is also in that movie, reprising his role as the Wolfman, who's trailing them. He's trying to go after them because what Dracula wants to do is revive Frankenstein and put a new brain in him, and so that's kind of the mission. And Lon Chaney's mission is to go and stop them. Now, the story that I read was that they tried to get Boris Karloff to play Frankenstein, and for whatever reason he couldn't or wouldn't. There was some issue there. I don't know specifically what. He couldn't do it. So the gentleman that's playing Frankenstein, I think, was like a stunt double guy. And during filming the movie, in some of the scenes with Frankenstein and Lou Costello, you could see, and actually in the film, the guy playing Frankenstein started busting up under his makeup, and he couldn't stop laughing. They had to redo a couple of shots because Lou Costello was just making this guy bust up laughing. Just it's pretty cool, I think. But yeah, so it was a great movie. If no one's ever seen it, please do. I have it on DVD. I bought that bad boy, a couple
I'm
years
pretty
ago.
sure I've seen some of Abbott and Costello,
Yeah,
but
it's good.
whether I've seen
and
that,
I'll tell you what, Abbott and Costello were violent because there's an opening scene with them and freaking Bud beat the living snot out of Lou. I'll tell you what, slapped
But he's
him
always
hard,
slapping
man.
him, though, isn't he?
Oh,
Do you know what I
big
mean?
time.
So,
Oh my! I didn't know it was that bad. Because when they broadcast on TV, they kind of don't show that scene. This is like the beginning of the movie before they ever encounter, the monsters.
I don't know about those two. I preferred, to tell you the truth, I preferred Lauren Hardy than Abbott and Costello. Yeah, I mean, but they were funny to a point, weren't they? The only thing I can remember from Abbott Costello films is a sketch where it was Baker Street. Do you remember that sketch? It was in one of the movies where they would he told him to ask people where Baker Street was, and every time he asked someone on the street, they'll have some kind of horrible thought of Baker Street, and they'll just end up going crazy over. That's the only thing I remember from Abbott and Costello. Oh yeah, the who's on first? That's the
who's on
that
first?
I remember. Yeah, that's the only thing. Yeah,
great bit.
But with Lauren Hardy, I remember everything from Lauren Hardy, but I only remember 3 bits from them, which is a bit weird. But there you go.
So, Final 13 in the chat says, "Boys, I'm out. Everyone have a great weekend. You too, sir. Thanks for popping in the chat.
Cheers.
Enjoy your family this weekend, and we'll look forward to the next time that you can come on with us here. Have a good one."